Hey everyone, Grayson here. Today we're breaking down the MOZA AB9. Their new force feedback flight stick base came out almost a year ago. I mean, we're talking maybe April or May. So it's still pretty new. I've been testing it with the standard desk setup and captured some B-roll so I can show you what the hardware actually looks like in action. And to be honest with you, I'm not very disappointed with what I've gotten so far. Let's go over the specs, features, software, what it feels like to fly with a real force feedback flight stick, which is pretty unique. All right, enjoy this B-roll. The AB9 is MOZA's first attempt and entry into the true force feedback flight sim market, and it's likely the most affordable option out there, making it an attractive choice for newcomers to what can be considered a very pricey hobby. And let's face it, this stuff is not cheap. Unlike traditional spring-based sticks from brands like Thrustmaster, Virpil, or VKB, the AB9 utilizes a direct drive servo motor. This means it offers genuine resistance, stall forces, trim effects, and vibration feedback for a much more immersive experience, which is amazing. You can pair it with any compatible stick on the market, and the AB9 will take care of generating the force, giving you a realistic flight sim experience without breaking the bank. The AB9 is built like MOZA's racing hardware, heavy CNC machined aluminum, tight tolerances, and a dense motor housing. It has a real professional feel to it. Now let's talk about the part everyone cares about, the force feedback. The AB9 pushes up to 9 Newton meters of torque, which is plenty for delivering stall pressure, G-force buildup, recoil turbulence, and linear stick resistance. What surprised me the most is how natural the force curve feels. The AB9 doesn't fight you in a robotic way. It has smooth, progressive resistance, but it's almost impossible to use without the table mount. I've been using the AB9 with MOZA's table mount, and honestly, it held up better than I expected. I ran high torque settings and the mount didn't slide or flex, meaning that it has really good seating power, which is a huge plus, but I can't say the same about my table, as the whole computer setup was for sure shaking. And I mean, just to demonstrate how bad it can get. That's what the force feedback was fighting me right now. Everything is controlled through MOZA's pit house, and for the first release flight product, they actually brought a lot of useful tuning options to the market here. I'll give you a little bit of a rundown, but I won't get into too much of the details as it gets really complicated. This is a quick breakdown of the MOZA's cockpits software. These are all the games that are supported via MOZA and have full support through the developers, which is really nice. And then we can go a little bit deeper into other peripherals or accessories that they have. I only own the AB9 here, so let's look at that. You see on the right hand side here is the actual stick position. You'll see that the green is where the stick position is as I move it up to my y-axis, all the way to the top of my y-axis. You'll see the red is going in the opposite direction. That is the force feedback fighting against me, which is amazing. And then you can see all of the telemetry that you can play around with on the left hand side here. Going into the expert settings, you can get into even more detail on specific things that you are interested in and you would like to implement into the stick. It just gets really complicated, and it gets even deeper. You can do like main wing stuff, canopy motion. I'm actually pretty surprised by how many things that they have implemented in here, and it's really your choice, right? Like, if you want to feel something, you can make it happen. You could even adjust curves, which is amazing. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. And then this is where you would switch it from flight base to a shifter. And once you switch it to shifter mode, you have yourself a 6-speed shifter. You could even swap it to a sequential and or 8-speed, and it could be used in more than just flight games or racing games, as you can surprisingly use it in farm simulator and other things as an actual shift. All right, that's everything for the software. I'm not going to get too complicated into this. I hope this was helpful. The AB9 supports MOZA's own grip and any grip that uses MOZA's interface, such as the Thrustmaster Warthog stick that I have right here, they're also pushing towards support for third-party grips via adapters. And just to show you how easy this is to remove and to put onto the AB9, it is that easy. I just removed it. And I'm back in the fight. It's that easy. This is for sim pilots who want real resistance, not spring tension. If the setup involves aircraft flying, helicopters, or if you're deep into games like DCS, IL-2, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, Mech Warrior, this is a massive upgrade. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that the AB9 isn't limited to flight sims. MOZA also designed it to work as a force feedback shifter base for driving game, which is the mode I have it in currently. The reason for that was because I was playing around with it and I felt like it was a cool thing to kind of show. Right now it's in a 6-speed with a reverse when you go to the bottom left, which is pretty cool. And the force feedback kicks in between the lines there too, which is really nice. So you will feel the resistance when you're trying to go from, like, let's say 6 to 4 or 4 to 3. It feels like there's walls stopping you from going through the wall, you know what I mean? So it's really, really interesting. Alrighty, so this is my unfiltered thoughts on the AB9 before we get to the very end here. So I'm right towards the outro here. AB9 is amazing. I play games like DCS. I play IL-2. I haven't really experienced anything in the space simulation, but there are a lot of options such as Elite Dangerous and things like that. When it comes to DCS, I like using the F4. I also have been really enjoying the F15 with the pressure, because you could set this to be like an F15 stick where you're not really going to get much movement, but any little movement like this could be the difference between your whole plane doing a full flip or whatever you need it to do, as it has that simulated pressure stick motion is probably the best way to explain it. I primarily play games like IL-2, so I love the World War II planes, and I'll tell you, in IL-2, they make it very realistic. I mean, when you're on the runway, you're feeling the stick with the vibrations as you're going through the runway. Same thing as you're coming up. You're gonna feel the gears kind of let off the ground. Then all of a sudden, the stick is free again, which gives you that feeling like you're about to stall. You'll feel like no pressure, and then you kind of have to work with it. And that's great. Once you're up in the air, that vibration, the rumble, the annoyance just kind of goes away, which I think feels pretty realistic. So I can't complain about that. Once you bring the gears up and the gears kind of hit against the metal of the bottom of the plane, you will feel that vibration. Also, you will also feel the vibration when you are closing the canopy. As the canopy comes to a close, you'll feel it slam, and then there'll be a little jolt on the joystick. It's a really cool feature. I play primarily in VR. I wish I could show you some footage, but unfortunately it just doesn't look that good. But if you are interested in watching me do some flight sim stuff, I could potentially stream it on Twitch, as I am sure it probably won't look that great, but such is, you know, VR flight sim experience, right? That's kind of how it is. All in all, I am not disappointed with the purchase. I think it's a very good purchase. If you can get it under 500 bucks on sale, it is highly recommended, as this is the bigger brother to the AB6. I know the AB6 is a little bit smaller. It's almost impossible. I can't go back to my Thrustmaster Warthog, which I have in the closet behind me. I love this thing so much. I have been using it for nearly, I would say, 3 months now. I wanted to make sure I really knew what I was talking about when I came to giving you guys this video. I know I've been away from YouTube videos for a very long time, but this one needed a video. It was that amazing. I highly recommend it. If you can get it on sale, it is definitely worth it. I don't recommend buying it for more than 500 bucks unless you have the wallet to support that type of a purchase. Nobody that I think who has owned this, and I have met a couple of people who fly in IL-2 and DCS, have had anything bad to say about it. It is required that you use a table mount. It is almost impossible to use this thing without a table mount or a mounted bracket, as the center of gravity is so high up on this thing, and the force feedback will prevent you from keeping any stability if you didn't have it mounted to something. All in all, I would say that this is a solid buy for someone who is an enthusiast, and it's very good for its multi-purpose utility due to the fact that you can use it in racing games too. It's not just flying games. I love this thing. Here's the outro. Thank you so much. So that's my full breakdown of the MOZA's AB9 force feedback flight stick base. For me, it's a serious step forward for people who want immersion, but don't want a monster hydraulic setup, or to hurt their bank, of course. You know what I mean? This is a pretty affordable thing. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, please don't hesitate to leave a like, comment, or subscribe, as I understand I've been away from making YouTube videos for a bit. I don't want to take too long on this one. If you've enjoyed this and you want to see more content like this, your support goes a long way in allowing me to continue doing stuff like this. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.